Welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you're joining us today because, wow, we are diving into something absolutely incredibly powerful. It's called The Anatomy of a Champion, the blueprint for the grind. In this explainer, it's basically your visual blueprint for taking that raw emotional desire you feel and turning it into structured, actionable success. We are unpacking the mindset, the daily grind, and that relentless drive that literally separates the good from the truly great. Right out of the gate, the source material hits us with this foundational philosophy. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Talk about setting the stakes, right? If you just do what's easy, complaining, playing the victim, giving up on your dreams, well, literally anyone can do that. But the framework points out that this easy path leads to a remarkably hard, bitter life down the road. But if you choose the hard path, getting up every single day and facing the grind head on with high expectations, eventually your life becomes easy. It's a complete perspective shift on how we deal with discomfort. So let's jump right into section 1, finding hidden gears and unlocking potential. You see, we all have a total of 6 gears, but look at this breakdown. Notice how most of us are honestly just coasting? You might totally feel like you're working hard, but chances are you're only really accustomed to operating in gear 3, or maybe gear 4. That means there's this massive 50% chunk of untapped potential right there. It's an entirely different level of performance, just waiting for you, if you're willing to push those boundaries and challenge what you actually think your maximum output is. Now, tapping into those extra gears requires a massive shift in what you're actually chasing. Just look at the stark contrast here between the reward and the responsibility. We live in a world where, let's face it, everybody wants the reward. They want the title, the money, the glory, the hands raised in victory. But the champion is the person who accepts the heavy, completely unglamorous responsibility of the job itself. You can't just fake it and expect all the rewards without actually carrying the heavy weight of that responsibility. And this creates a huge divide. The source lays it out like this. Losers talk and winners do. Losers talk about how much they hate to lose, right? They post about it online, they complain about bad breaks, or whine about a referee making a bad call. Winners, on the other hand, they quietly just do the work. They literally go dark. They do the unseen, gritty work necessary to completely dominate the competition. And the source makes a fascinating point here. Our culture's general laziness is actually a huge advantage for you. Because while everybody else wants to just talk about success, very, very few are willing to roll up their sleeves and execute in the shadows. Which brings us perfectly to section 2, the daily game of inches, constructing greatness. 5 o'clock in the morning, when the public is out there applauding a champion's final victory, they are totally ignoring the hidden struggles that built it. People see all that success and go, man, I wish I could be that guy. But the source poses a really tough question. Do they really wish they could be that guy at 5 a.m.? When it is pouring rain outside, it's freezing, and it's time to drag yourself out of bed to train? No, they don't want to be that guy in the dark. They only want the glory in the light. Because it's in those specific moment-to-moment decisions where the game is actually won. Waking up early and hitting the road. Smashing that snooze button. Demanding that one extra rep in the gym when your entire body is just screaming at you to stop. The text refers to these tiny daily habits as the literal inches that add up. These repetitive, agonizing daily measures, they're the exact inches that separate first place from being forever forgotten. That leads us right into section 3, pushing past physical strength and pivoting to willpower. Because what happens when those habits just aren't enough? What happens when your body has literally nothing left to give? Well, step 1 is physical exhaustion. You're hungry, you're hurting. Step 2, the mind quits. Your brain is actively telling your legs they are way too tired to take even one more step. But step 3, that is where the champion is forged. Willpower takes over. You have to essentially kick your mind right out of the driver's seat and let sheer, unadulterated will take the wheel. Because everybody stops when they get tired. You have to figure out how to run when you are hurting. And the math behind this level of effort, it's brutal, but it's incredibly simple. 120%. You must demand 120% from yourself because the universe is only going to pay you back exactly what you put into it. Every single time you put in work, you get those same exact consequences back. So if you want extraordinary returns, you have got to put forth an extraordinary 120% effort. There's just no way around it. Now let's slow things down a bit for section 4, discovering your deepest why. This is your ultimate advantage. The text puts it beautifully. Your why is going to push you when you can't push yourself. The source makes it crystal clear that there will be days you stare at the alarm clock and you simply do not want to get up. We've all been there. But if you have a foundational reason, like if you are fighting for your mother, your father, or your kids, that why steps in and takes over. It gives you the ultimate advantage, that lift, that absolute edge you need to get out of bed when literally every fiber of your being just wants to quit. Accelerating into our final phase, we have Section 5, the Shark Execution Mindset, building that predatory winning mindset. To explain this, the source draws a totally brilliant metaphor using sharks. Because sharks are unpredictable and completely relentless, they follow strict rules of execution. Never stop swimming, never go backward, and always expect to win. Think about it. In nature, if a shark stops swimming or moves backward, it literally dies. The framework challenges you to think, act, and behave with that exact same biological urgency. Your forward momentum is basically your lifeblood. Which brings us face to face with this incredibly direct question. How bad do you want it? Seriously, do you want it as bad as you want to breathe? Are you willing to risk going too far just to find out how far you can actually go? The source dares you to stop counting the cost, completely abandon your comfort zone, and just see what your life would look like if you committed 100%. Now, despite all this super intense talk about sharks and giving 120%, the fundamental secret to greatness is actually surprisingly accessible. To be great, you really just need to do a little bit more than the next person is willing to do. That's it. One more push-up than the next guy, one more free throw than the competition. That is the true baseline of beast mode. And when you start stacking up those single extra push-ups and free throws day after day, winning actually stops being a surprise. As the quote says, wins don't shock winners, any more than Michael Jordan was amazed when he hit a game-winning shot. The source uses absolute legends to make this point, guys like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, and Kobe Bryant. They aren't amazed by victory because their focus is so relentlessly glued to the process. They don't over-celebrate. Come one day morning, they are undistracted and right back at it. Because they put in all that unseen work, they quite simply expect to win every single time. Which leaves us with this final, really powerful thought to close out our explainer today. Will you make the decision to level up every single day for the rest of your life? I want you to take a moment and genuinely think about that question. We've uncovered the true anatomy of a champion today, but the real question is, how are you going to apply this blueprint tomorrow morning? Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and keep pushing those boundaries.